Sony today announced the RX100 VI. I currently have the RX100 V, and I personally would choose the Mark V over the Mark VI for almost every purpose that I use this camera for. The RX100 V, and I'm sure the RX100 VI, is a beautifully built compact camera. You can see that it's less than the size of one of my prime lenses for my A7 Mark III. And the slow motion, it's fantastic. Here you see me lighting a lighter at 1,000 frames per second, which is on the Mark V as well as the Mark VI. And here you see me doing the same with my A7 Mark III, which only records at 120 frames per second. The 120 frames per second on the A7 III, however, is full HD, 1080, whereas I believe the 1,000 frames per second on the Mark V is just shy of 720p. They consider it HD still. It doesn't look terrible for short clips. Okay, so now I'm shooting on the RX100 Mark V. And I'm shooting at the wide open 1.8 aperture, and that's why you can see kind of a blur behind me. Let me adjust it to 2.8, and you can see this desk behind me is less of a blur. So right off the bat, that nice little shallow depth of field added effect makes the RX100, in my opinion, the Mark V, a better vlogging camera. Both cameras have the flippy, twisty out screen, and both cameras will get the job done. I personally wouldn't use a compact point and shoot for the 200 range. I mostly use this camera for diving and for vlogging when I don't want to carry around my larger camera, which I have right over here. See, so this is my big camera. I'll use this camera when I'm vlogging, but sometimes I want a lighter camera, so this camera works. It's easy to carry. I can walk around, talk with you guys. It still has image stabilization, and it's great. The dive housing's really affordable. It's a 1-inch sensor, so it's big enough to take some pretty great dive photos like the ones that I'll show you, and I'll show you some video clips of me using this camera in the water. Especially with diving, you want the aperture number as low as possible, and the fact that the starting aperture is 2.8 on the Mark VI and it goes up to 4.6 on the telephoto side. I don't know at what range it starts to change from 2.8. I imagine right off the bat it goes from a 2.8 up to the 4.6 pretty quick. So yeah, that's my opinion on the new RX100 Mark VI. I'm really disappointed in it. I think it has a niche market for people who kind of just want something that they can put in their pocket and has that telephoto length, but I would much rather stick to the cheaper RX100 Mark V. It's got a better aperture, it's a better vlogging camera in my opinion. It's not the best vlogging camera, obviously. I'm recording on the internal microphone of this camera, whereas I have my Rode shotgun mic. This camera doesn't have a mic input. I don't even use the viewfinder on this camera, so the improvement on the one button push viewfinder doesn't really matter. In my opinion, this compact camera's viewfinder sucks, and I can't imagine they really improved it. You're very limited on what you can do in a compact body. Thank you guys for listening to my 2 cents on the RX100 Mark VI. I'm looking forward to the A7S Mark III. I don't know about you guys. Sony has definitely changed the game with their cameras, and with the A7 III being a home run, it's just a disappointment to see the RX100 Mark VI being the camera that it is. I think it's impressive that they got a 200mm focal length in a compact camera, but once again, I don't see the market for it, but you guys may be really interested in it. That's just my opinion. Thank you guys for watching.